movies when they don't have much of a budget.
Right, and even some of the bigger budget movies like The Shining, they use genuine scares in it. There's one particular scene where Jack Nicholson comes through the door with the axe. You know, the whole scene where he does that. The woman on the other side of the door, Stanley Kubrick did not tell her an axe was coming through the door.
Now we're talking a real axe,
right?
Ooh.
Like when Jack Nicholson came through the door, that reaction was genuine.
Yeah, I'd be, I guess the real screams would be coming out. I guess you couldn't fake that.
Right. And Kubrick wanted it that way. He was a heck of a director because of that. But, I mean, he literally drove the woman crazy on set doing things like that to her.
Well, I guess you could get some realistic, effects that way. But again, I don't know what their budget of their movie was, or, I hate to say it. I swear to God, some of these directors are a little bit twisted too.
Right.
Which I guess that helps because, some of the movies, it really, improves them.
Oh, there's a ton of amazing directors out there. And some of my favorites, like we were talking about Rob Zombie earlier. Rob Zombie's an excellent director.
Well, I think
he's got a mind.
I think he's made a lot of really fantastic, eerie, scary movies.
He has, and that's definitely a credit to his talent. But I mean, he's a huge fan of the genre and has been forever. It's like your Eli Roth, your Tobe Hoopers, your Guillermo del Toros. I mean, all great directors.
Well, I got to ask you a question, Nick. How do you see, you go to the Scare Fest and all that stuff, right?
I do. I actually did security there last year. Going to do it again this year, actually.
Where do you see the future of, the thrasher horror type movies going? I mean, what do you think is going to happen?
I think they're going to stick around. We've got movies out there like Laid to Rest. We've got one that's actually a really hot ticket on Netflix right now. I don't know if you've seen the movie Terrifier. I highly recommend it. It's in my top 5 right now.
Well, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about it? No, I have not seen it, or I haven't even heard about it.
Terrifier is, all right, so first off, I'm going to ask you, are you afraid of clowns?
Only when my wife puts her makeup on. No, I'm not.
This one might change your mind.
Okay.
It's about 2 girls that get, in a situation where they get drunk, nobody wants to drive home. They try to sober up, they go out, they find their car tires flat. Now, plotline foreshadowing here, we meet a clown named Art. And David Howard Thornton absolutely plays an epic character in this, because he doesn't speak. The clown doesn't speak at all. His facial expressions and his body movements act for him, but he's such it lends to such a creepy character that it actually will unnerve you at times to watch the things he does to these people.
Well, what type of things does he do?
I mean, the gore factor in this movie is very good. It's very well done. The clown basically, I'm not going to give away too much, but it has the absolute best use of a hacksaw I've seen in a horror film in the past 10 years.
I won't even ask you about that because I want to sleep tonight, Nick.
Yeah, but, I would highly recommend anybody watch this film.
Oh, wow. Interesting. I got to ask you a question. Why are people so scared of clowns? I watched on YouTube back about 2 years ago, and it was done, I think, in South America or whatever, near like a subway or a bus where, buses are. A guy would come out, dressed as a clown and appear from nowhere, or maybe, with maybe a big machete or something. And people were running away and screaming and falling down trying to get away. Of course, it was kind of late at night. or he would appear, like in traffic, and people, would just go off the road and all that stuff. Why are people so scared of clowns?
I mean, maybe it's the flamboyance, maybe it's the makeup, maybe it's the psychological terror that they're all like John Wayne Gacy. I mean, because he dressed up as a clown. He's a very real serial killer. I mean, and he used that to lure his victims in. So, I mean, to me, it kind of harkens back to that in a way that with a clown, you trust him at first, but what could he do later?
Yeah, well, I grew up thinking like the clowns, like Bozo and all these stuff were, fun and funny and all that stuff. But anything that you think it could have been when the Captain Sparling appeared in, some of those movies?
It would, his character just maybe added to it a little bit, but not so much. I think it was more along the lines of maybe Pennywise from Stephen King's It.
Uh-huh.
That kind of put a little more fear in place of clowns. The remake of Stephen King's It was good, but there is no substitute for Tim Curry as Pennywise.
Why?
The man could just about play anything and act it the way you would envision it be acted. He was flamboyant. He made you trust him at times. And then it spirals out of control into this whole, this clown is not what he should be.
Interesting. Well, you know what? I guess if you're young enough and you want to date a girl, don't dress as a clown, because evidently, I'll be honest with you. I think of anything, when people see clowns, for some reason, they get scared.
They definitely do. And it's a lot of movies like that put that fear in place. I mean, not all clowns are bad. I actually have a few people I know that, they have clown characters that they portray. Like, I've got a couple of friends that do horror movie reviews that do that. And I've got a friend that actually works or has worked for the circus before that's a clown. And, they're not scary people.
Huh. I don't know. Is this maybe, I guess, that some people have just milked the idea of the clown, and that it as being evil instead of, good and, and happy and giving off good orbs. And I'm sorry you used the word orbs, but I mean, I guess, whoever started the whole thing, really did a good job to take something that, was exciting and kids couldn't wait to see, to make it where if you see a clown, you want to crawl under your bed really quick.
Right. And it's actually become a very real phobia. I mean, it's definitely a thing, and a lot of film directors and a lot of writers and things like that definitely portray that pretty well in movies.
Well, like I said, whoever was doing this YouTube thing back a couple years ago, and even newer than that, again, as a clown comes walking out of whatever, and like in a parking lot, underground parking lot, and all of a sudden you see a clown with a chainsaw, as your young lady trying to get into your car, and all of a sudden you see a clown with a chainsaw. What are you going to do?
My first instinct there would probably be to run, because if I see anything in a chainsaw or with a chainsaw come out of a dark alley in the middle of the night, yeah, I'm probably getting out of there. Yeah,
I would too. But I mean, it's funny when I was watching it, how the people were reacting, because he just didn't do it with one person. He did it like with quite a few people. I have to say, these people who are making these YouTube things like that are very brave, because one day somebody's going to do that, right? And somebody's going to reach underneath their coat or down by their hip and pull something out and go pop.
Right. And that's something that they've made a choice to do, of course. I mean, but yeah, those people are very brave to do that.
Well, I sure wouldn't want to do it, but I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't want to run into a clown at night anyway, let alone, like I said, watching my wife put her makeup on, I guess that's the closest I come to seeing a clown. Oh, God, I shouldn't have said that tonight. You know what's going to happen, don't you?
What's that?
When I go to bed, okay, it's going to be 2 blankets on the bed. Here's my blanket. There's her blanket.
Yep. That'll happen.
Okay. Well, Linda, if you're listening, you're not looking like a clown when you put your makeup on. You can't help what you look like. Anyway, I'm sorry. Cheap thrill joke there. Going into other Thrasher or whatever type movies, what stands out in your head? I mean, as really scary. I mean, all time really gory. I mean, the one that really stands out, and I'm going to start saying Texas Chainsaw blankety blank
Massacre.
Yeah, that I'll be honest with you. I have never been able to watch any of the movies all the way through. I mean, I don't remember which one it was where the guy with the grandfather, cuts one leg off and then decides, well, let's even it up, and he cuts the other leg off. But the way he killed all these people with a chainsaw, I could not, I couldn't watch it all. It was so gory.
Right. And it was something they took a true story, and it's based on the serial killer Ed Gein, and they loosely based it and created this entire Leatherface character around that. And, I mean, they used to say this is based on a true story at the beginning of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But they didn't tell you exactly how loosely based it was, but that was enough right there to draw you in.
Well,
and once that movie got you, it got you.
Yeah. I mean, now, if my memory right, wasn't the original one black and white?
The original one, I'm not sure if it showed in black and white in drive-ins or theaters or anything like that. I can't remember it being anything but color.
Okay, because I swore it was black and white. But I could be totally wrong, because at my age, I have a hard time figuring out where I put my keys every day. So I guess it could have been color, but I just remember where he was chasing the girls out, or the girl out in the woods.
Right. I think my favorite part of that entire film, and I mean, it's just that I had several favorite parts of the film, but I think my favorite part of that film altogether was when they went into the house, and it didn't have anything to do with him killing anybody. When they looked around and they just saw all the furniture that was made out of human bones, and the bird that was in the cage, the skeleton was still on the perch, and everything was just made out of bones or skin.
I think that right there would be enough to terrify you where you'd wet yourself or other if you walked into something like that.
That was the point when I was little and I saw this movie. That was the point in the movie where I was like, okay, what I'm about to see next is probably going to be the scariest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, and if I remember right too, like they were like cutting people up alive with a chainsaw.
Yep, he had actually killed a few with it in the movie. The boy in the wheelchair, he killed him with it. And if I'm not mistaken, he killed another one, and I can't remember the exact method how. But I know he did kill a guy with a rather large meatpacking hammer. So that was a pretty bad one, too.
Well, and then another movie, Nick, it really, I could not watch all the way through because it actually scared me, was The Hill.
The Hill?
Yeah. Or The Hills, or whatever it is.
The Hills Have Eyes?
Yeah, that one really, really terrified me.
Yeah, that one had some, it was more of a what you don't see that scares you in that movie. Because a lot of times the people in that movie, that lived in that area that had been irradiated and became those mutant people. You never really saw a lot of them in the movie, but when you finally did, that was